Adelaide's Fiveaa breaking news.
Yeah, good afternoon. Jono Edwards with you. We do interrupt our football coverage for some breaking news. We understand an incident has occurred at Marion Shopping Centre. Let's go there now to Mitchell Sariovsky for 7 News. Mitch, good afternoon. What do we know so far?
Jono, this is very much an unfolding situation at the moment. What I can see at the moment, I'm at Westfield Marion. The reports we've got at the moment is that someone potentially is armed inside the building. That has sent the shoppers and workers into lockdown. I've spoken to some workers. They're crouching out the back. They're hiding. The alarms are ringing inside. The police helicopter is circling above. There is quite a heavy police presence at the moment here at Westfield Marion. What I can see at the moment, cars are flushing out the shopping complex. But as I said, the details are very thin on what is an unfolding situation at the moment. What we have been told, there apparently was a fight that broke out. Ambulance personnel have been called to the centre, but... Yeah,
thanks, Mitch. Do we have any word from SAPOL yet? I know I've tried to get in contact, haven't unfortunately been able to get through. Any luck?
The details SAPOL are saying at the moment there was a fight. We're not quite sure what that fight was, where it was. We did hear some early reports that are flowing through on social media at the moment that there was someone running around that was armed. That's unconfirmed at the moment. But I'm sure in the next hour we'll have some more information of what has happened here at Westfield Marion, Jono.
Brilliant, Mitch. Thanks very much for your time, and we might cross back to you a bit later. But we have had a fair few calls, of course. Fiveaa, we're always live and local. And let's go to one man that was there in Morris from Glenelg. Morris, are you there, mate?
Yes, I am, yes.
Could you tell us, mate, you were there? What did you see? What did you hear?
I was down the western end, down near Audi and that food area along there. The alarm went off and all the shop doors shut. The staff were very, very good. It was very organised. The upright advertising TV screens they have in the middle of the walkways all had a lit-up armed offender, exit now, and then it turned into pandemonium and people were running everywhere. The worst part, I think, was the cars and the traffic. It was gridlock.
Yep.
There was no ability to turn all the lights on green to get onto Sturt Road, Morford Road, all those exit roads. But inside the shopping centre, the only reason that I went back in, there was some elderly people and there was a woman in a wheelchair, and there were some kids who just make sure, of course, we're Australian, we just make sure they get out.
Absolutely.
And when that was okay, it was all clear to go, and then unfortunately, there were people still trying to come in who didn't know what was going on. But from Marion's perspective, I think it was really well organised. I saw a concierge running down with his hands in the air, waving, and he was turning around. It was like he was running away from something. And he's just saying, just get out, just get out, just get out, run, run, run. And of course that, well, you'd have to call it panic, but very stressful.
If you are out there and about and you have seen something or you want to contribute, 8223 0000, we're going to go to a few more calls. We've got a fair few people calling in. I've just received a statement from SAPOL and it reads, incident at Marion Shopping Centre. Police are aware of an incident occurring at Westfield Marion Shopping Centre. Numerous police patrols are in attendance. At this point in time, police advise public to stay away from the area. A further update will be provided when known. And like I said, if you're out and about, 8223 0000, the number to ring, whatever you've seen, if you can help others. Let's go to Deb from Ascot Park. Deb, you were there?
Yeah, I pulled in and I thought, I'll just grab a few things. And there were people running everywhere. And the traffic was just crazy and I was stuck trying to get in, not knowing what on earth had gone on. And a couple of people came over to those of us that were in the traffic trying to get in and said, you better get out because the whole shopping centre's been shut down. We've all been asked to evacuate and it was just crazy. People just going everywhere.
Yeah, it is still very much an unfolding situation. Thank you, Deb. As I reiterate the police statement, a short time ago, police are aware of an incident occurring at Westfield Marion Shopping Centre. Numerous police patrols are in attendance. At this point, police advise the public to stay away from the area. What we might do is we'll just take a break and we'll try and gather some further information, and we will return here on 5AA.
Adelaide's 5AA. Breaking news.
Yeah, good afternoon. Jono Edwards with you. We're just covering this breaking story. A short time ago, police releasing a statement advising that Westfield Marion, they're aware of an incident occurring at Westfield Marion, and numerous police patrols are in attendance. At this point in time, police advise the public to stay away from the area. A further update will be provided when known. We're still getting a number of calls coming in, and let's go to Liam from Campbelltown. Liam, good afternoon. What did you see, mate?
Hi. So I was in the movies with my partner, and we just heard over the loudspeaker that this is an emergency, it's not a drill. Then a couple of people just thought, oh, that's a bit odd to hear because we could barely hear it. Then it happened again about 90 seconds later. Then people started leaving. Then me and my partner, we're out there trying to just leave the area. Then I heard just bangs, and everyone just started running pretty much. So we ran back into a cinema, out the emergency doors, then onto the roof. Then we made our way down. Then the traffic and everyone was trying to get out. But the police response was just there immediately within 5 minutes. 10 minutes.
Saw a number of police on scene?
Yeah, a number of police were on scene, and as we had to go around to get our way home, the police were all over the place. They were everywhere.
Yeah, okay. And could you paint the picture of how many people were trying to evacuate? You know, a Sunday afternoon, Marion will be chockers full of kids, family, thousands trying to evacuate. Was there any stampedes or,
No,
trampling?
There was lots of like hoodies, fallen shoes, fallen sunglasses and all that were just left behind. So anyone dropped anything, they just left it behind and just pretty much just left.
Yeah, and you're in the cinema. I mean, it must have been, you must have thought it was a bit of a joke, really.
Yeah, it was a weird one. Like, we thought it was a drill. I thought it was a drill, if I'm being honest, first time. Then I thought, do I just go out and see what happens? Then it happened again. Then we went out, then pretty much got to where the stairs were, about 10 metres back from the rail, then just heard a couple loud bangs and grabbed my girlfriend's hand, and we just bolted back into a cinema out the back door, and there was kids screaming. Like, it was confronting.
Was there kind of a word of what had happened? Did anyone really know? Were security guards telling you? Concierge staff?
No, there was a staff that was saying that if it was meant to happen, doors were locked down and everything, and the movies were going to lockdown, but that didn't happen. So the bloke there, felt bad for him because he had parents left, right and centre asking him what was happening, and he was just on a walkie-talkie trying to relay information back to us. So, but once we heard the two bangs, we just legged it just on a side street, just trying to gather what's just happened. I could see the police helicopter circling. But yeah.
If you're out and about, or you were there, 8223 0000, you are our eyes and ears. There's just some comments on social media, and we've got a few texts actually. This one from Amanda. We were there in the cinema for a kids' movie. We thought teenagers were pulling a prank. And the next thing, hysteria, everyone crying and running out of an exit. We held our kids back as we were worried they were going to get trampled on. This one from Pam. The message over the PA wasn't overly clear. Lots of people and staff just standing around, some running. So it obviously sounds like a significant amount of confusion. You can only imagine after what played out in Bondi. Yeah, this is the forefront of everyone's mind. You know, the first thing of, in this day and age when you go to public places, unfortunately, you do tend to kind of think of what could go wrong. Look, this one from Vanessa. We're locked in Big W. They've scared the crap out of many people and a lot of children. A lot of more reports of the police helicopter circling Westfield, flying low. We're still awaiting for some further information from SAPOL. The latest information at 3:30. Police are aware of an incident occurring at Westfield Marion Shopping Centre. Numerous police patrols are in attendance. At this point in time, police advise the public to stay away from the area. A further update will be given when known. Some more messages kind of coming through. One from Leone. I'm in a storeroom. It's pretty nerve-wracking. This was extremely terrifying. Won't be shopping for a while. We're currently locked in Big W. So it still sounds like from the calls and messages that we are getting that it's still potentially an unfolding situation, and we'll await to confirm more. A number of people saying my son was evacuated. We can't get out of the car park. We understand that the ambulance service has been responded, some ambulances on scene. There's some other reports that I'm not going to mention just simply because of hysteria. Some more information unfolding. Westfield Marion has been evacuated after reports of an armed person in the centre's David Jones store. One shopper who was in David Jones said the incident had happened on the second floor of David Jones. The shopper had been on level 1 where she'd noticed a security guard running up an escalator. Shortly after, an announcement on the public address system told everyone to evacuate the store because there was a weapon on level 2. On Twitter, there's a lot of people trying to find what has been happening, and there is some tweets of an advertising screen, those rolling advertiser screens that you see in shopping centres, on bus stops, etc. And it is detailing armed offender, escape, hide, tell. There's some more eyewitnesses saying the staff were really great, but the people were certainly panicked and running to all the exits. SA police are on scene, however, have not confirmed any further details than what we said earlier, and the SAPOL statement. We're expecting some further information. Movies were stopped in the centre's cinema complex. Still got a fair few calls to get through. Let's go to Dylan. Dylan, I think you were there. Dylan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
We're getting through, mate. Tell us what you saw.
Oh, look, I was just coming out of Kmart when the alarms went off, and people were running and throwing the trolleys and grabbing the children, and got to the car park, and it was just chaotic. Cars were driving the wrong way and beeping at each other. It was utter chaos, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So whereabouts were you when the alarm was raised?
I was on level 2 coming out of Kmart at the end. People were running everywhere and screaming, and lots of crying going on. It was quite panicking, actually, to be honest with you. I've never been in a situation like that before. Got it.
Did you happen to see if anyone was injured at all, or ambulance staff or anything like that?
Look, as I was driving out, there was lots of unmarked police cars driving in, and lots of police cars and a few ambulances arriving. And I could see on the top level, on the outside, everyone was coming out the cinema through the fire exit. So it was just everybody was getting out as quick as they can, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to another call. Thanks very much for your call, Dylan. I appreciate it. And if you are in the area, 8223 0000, tell us what you're seeing. Let's go to Sam. Sam, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Jono. Yeah, mate, I was in the car going to Bunnings to get some firewood, cold up at Hallett Cove, and swung down to Marion, and very quickly got caught in gridlock. I could not believe the sea of traffic. I saw a dad running into the space and then embracing his 2 girls in tears. So I instantly knew something was wrong, but I couldn't work out what it was. And then someone driving past me, I don't know who they were, but looked like they had been in there or was working there, said that there were a couple of gangs that had been fighting, and then violence had broken out. And then basically that's as much as we got in the conversation before both our cars were passing. I've counted at least, about 15 cop cars, and then I've seen another one just come in, one of those disguised cars. It's a Volkswagen, and suddenly, yeah, that's it now, and the lights are on, and I've literally been there for, I think, 50 minutes. I didn't even get into Bunnings because it was shut, and I've just got out of the precinct, but I'm still stuck on the road just on the outside of Maya here. So it is pandemonium, and there's traffic everywhere.
Adelaide's 5AA. Breaking news.
Yeah, good afternoon. If you are just joining us, welcome to Rolling Coverage. A significant incident occurring at Westfield Marion. My name's Jono Edwards, and I'm taking you through, bringing you the latest. We've got a number of calls of people that are in the area, but if you are in the area, please give us a ring. But let's go through what we know so far. And police have released a statement. Police are aware of an incident occurring at Westfield Marion Shopping Centre. Numerous police patrols are in attendance. At this point in time, police advise the public to stay away from the area. There is significant number of posts on social media showing members of the Star Group from SAPOL entering the area. We've received mixed reports from various people on social media and on the phone. But like I said, what we do know so far is that Marion Shopping Centre was sent into evacuation at approximately 3 o'clock. What then followed was a full-scale evacuation by Westfield staff and a full-scale response by the emergency services. SAPOL responding, the SA ambulance service responding on number. Also reports of the police chopper. Some significant social media posts of people still saying they're locked in the area, but we will continue to bring you the latest here on 5AA. Give us a ring, 8223 0000 if you are in the area. I'll again reiterate what the advertiser is now reporting. Westfield Marion has been evacuated after reports of an armed person in the centre's David Jones store. One shopper who was in David Jones said the incident happened on the second floor at David Jones. The shopper had been on level 1 when she noticed a security guard running up the escalator. Shortly afterwards, an announcement on the public address system told everyone to evacuate the store because there was a weapon on level 2. There is posts of Westfield's advertising screens, the stuff you see on bus stops, etc. Armed offender, escape, hide and tell. Witnesses saying the staff were really great. We've heard that security guards and Westfield staff were doing their very best to assist in the evacuation. Movies have been stopped. We've heard from a number of people on 8223 0000 that they were halfway through a movie and they thought it was a prank. When the evacuation sound started going off, and then it went off again, and then they were proceeded to be evacuated. It sounds like there was some panic with items of clothing thrown across the area. You know, as you can imagine, there probably would have been in excess of 1,000 people at Marion Shopping Centre. Let's head back to the calls, and we will endeavour to bring you the very latest in this rolling coverage here on 5AA. I do reiterate, an incident has occurred at Marion Shopping Centre. We're still awaiting for some further information, but SA Police confirming that they are aware of an incident occurring at the centre but could not confirm any details about the situation. We've had unconfirmed reports of gang fights, but once again, we must stress all speculation. But we will go back to some more calls on 8223 0000. Harry, good afternoon. How are you? Tell us what you saw and what you know.
Well, I got a call from my wife. She works at Marion there for Witchery, and she told me that there's a emergency evacuation happening, and there's someone in with a weapon. And as you would panic, of course. And I had to leave my work to come and see what's going on. So I'm outside here on Diagonal Road, which is pandemonium at the moment. And they're at the moment, they're in lockdown, and they're in the store, and are told not to move. That's all I know.
Yeah. So what store are they in?
She's in the Witchery store.
So Witchery store, is that in level 1, level 2? I'm not aware of women's fashion,
sure.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
all I know, all I've asked a few people around there. I reckon there was a scuffle broke out, a gang-related young youth.
Okay.
So there were knives pulled out. That's the word that they're saying. People that have witnessed, they reckon.
Okay, and once again, we must stress that this is all unconfirmed reports. We're still awaiting for some more from SAPOL, but I do appreciate it, Harry. 7 News Adelaide have put some significant pictures on their social media showing people evacuating, somewhat of a stampede, and heavily armed police entering the shopping centre. It looks like people have been shoved into the back of storerooms. You know, where everyone generally has their lunch break. You've got in excess of 100 shoppers just squeezed in there. And then where the cinema is, so if you can picture the cinema, the escalators going up, we've got some pictures of heavily armed police from the Star Group there. Let's go to Wendy. Wendy, good afternoon.
My sister is there with our disabled friend in a wheelchair, and they were shopping and they got told to evacuate, and my sister's concern was they didn't know what was going on, and it takes quite a while to load the wheelchair into the access vehicle. So they opted to go to Dan Murphy's, and the store decided to tell the customers they were going to lock the doors. So currently my sister and Tina are locked in Dan Murphy's.
Okay, so Dan Murphy's is on the outside of the shopping centre near Bunnings.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yes. So apparently.
Obviously still an unfolding situation. Then perhaps it would seem that police are just trying to lock everyone down while they can assess the situation and trying to ensure that, no one gets hurt and everything like that. But you've spoken to them and they're okay. And
they are. And I said they're safe in there while they're locked in and not to leave. But she couldn't find any information out. That's why she rang me, said, stay there, stay locked in, do not open that door at the shop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until they know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, SAPOL are heavily trained for this. It was just a few weeks ago, I think we can all remember seeing on the news services that SAPOL actually completed some training with their STAR group, the heavily armed police, at Marion Shopping Centre at night time a couple of weeks ago. So, we can hold faith that, they are heavily trained in what they do and that this situation will be resolved as soon as we can. But once again, some more information starting to pile in, plenty of comments on social media. We're trying to get in contact with SAPOL and provide an update, but as you can imagine, they're probably working through exactly what's happened. Thousands of people there, and the traffic saga of what would be occurring on Diagonal Road and the surrounding roads, there would be panic. People would be panicked because they were thinking that something's going wrong and we need to get out of there. So if you are there, can you please give us a ring, 8223 0000, and tell us what you're seeing. But we've spoken to a number of callers who are in the movies who have told us the centre's cinema complex and patrons were told to evacuate. And I suppose one of the most confronting signs were the advertising signs around Marion. An image was put up showing signs in the centre with the words armed offender and escape, hide and tell. So it's still an unfolding situation. As we've heard from the callers, we understand that Marion Shopping Centre is still in lockdown. Details are still shaky, but we're endeavouring to provide the very latest for you here on 5AA. Some more photos starting to come through on social media, which does show SA Ambulance on scene and a significant number of police, as you can imagine, for an incident like this. But I suppose the most important thing is that if you're in the area or if you're in the shopping centre, you need to stay calm and you need to follow the direction of police. If you're not at Marion Shopping Centre, if you're out and about, I think the best advice would be to avoid the area completely. That's what SAPOL is advising. As you can imagine, a significant amount of emergency services will be turned out to this. They'd have plans and protocols on what to do, when to do it. So I suppose the most important thing would be, if you're in the areas, to perhaps just head home, stay home, until police are able to provide some further information. And that further information we will bring you as soon as we can. But as I said, 8223 0000. If you are in the area, please give us a ring. We're waiting for some further information from SAPOL. The advertiser has released an update. The advertiser has been told that a group of people in the centre wielding weapons, including bats and knives, and at least one person was attacked and has been hospitalised. Once again, that is just what the advertiser is reporting. We're unsure. We're awaiting further information, but we understand that Marion Shopping Centre is currently still under lockdown. Mixed reports of what's happening, but as we know, SAPOL would definitely have this in hand and doing the very best they can. If you're out and about and you're seeing what's happened, 8223 0000, the number to ring. Armed police entering the area. If you are in the area, please give us a ring. We will play some audio now from Channel 7 that we've just received.
Okay, let's move. Aiden. Let's move. Let's move.
Yeah, just some information there from 7 News. They've tweeted, obviously you can hear in that, the evacuation tones from Marion Shopping Centre. If you are just joining us, I do reiterate, this Westfield Marion Shopping Centre has been evacuated after reports of an armed offender. We're attempting to contact back to the scene to bring you the very latest, but if you are just joining us, a significant evacuation at the Westfield Shopping Centre at Marion. For the very latest, let's go to our 9 News affiliates in Gus McDonald. Gus, can you tell us what you're seeing, mate?
G'day, Jono. We're at the southern entrance of the Marion Shopping Centre, and at the moment there's hordes of people waiting outside of the centre. There's also some people on the roof. They've been locked in and they're unable to come out. But in the car park, a lot of people waiting around, some with relatives still inside who are locked in shops, and some just wanting to get back to their belongings, which are still inside.
Do we have any idea of perhaps what has happened yet? We're receiving numerous reports. What have eyewitnesses told you?
Eyewitnesses have told me that there was multiple teenagers, they've said, with batons, and that's when people started running. And these teenagers allegedly were threatening people in the shop.
Yeah, okay. So once again, these are just eyewitness reports. We're still waiting for some further information from SAPOL. Tell us what the feel is around there. It's obviously must be one of concern, but for those with loved ones inside, have they been provided information by police? Is there people providing information, or is it just at a complete standstill at the moment?
And not by police at this stage, but they are able to talk to them. There is telephone reception. I know that was a problem during the Bondi siege, that people weren't able to contact people because of reception. There is reception, so the people I've spoken to who are speaking to their relatives are able to get an update from inside, and it seems to be safe. The people who are inside are safe.
So do we understand if any offenders have been arrested, or we're just remaining in lockdown at this stage until, I guess, police give the old clear?
Yeah, not yet, Jono. There's a lot of police still inside the Marion Shopping Centre, and no one is yet to be taken out with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of numbers, like, are we talking thousands of people you'd kind of imagine at the Marion Shopping Centre at this time of day?
Yeah, it's a very busy Sunday. Obviously, the car park was gridlocked. There's still hundreds of people on my entrance, but the car park's still very full. I imagine there's still hundreds of people also locked inside as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen footage of, the Star Group, heavily armed police heading in. Is there any information kind of been provided to members of the public as to when they might be allowed out, or if more police and emergency services are going in?
No information yet to the public, but definitely a lot of shock from those onlookers who saw these armed police move into the centre. They moved very quickly in their armed vehicles, and a few people were able to get that on video, but they were very, very shocked to see this sort of thing actually play out in action in front of them, they've told me.
Yeah, absolutely. You wouldn't expect it in little quiet old Adelaide, I guess, but in terms of injuries, do we know, like obviously with a mass people evacuating, was there any injuries of people evacuating that you're aware of?
Can't confirm any injuries at the moment, Jono, but we have seen ambulance stretchers be taken into the centre. And I've been told as well that there's a lot of shock still inside, and people may be being treated for shock inside the centre.
Yeah, absolutely. Gus McDonald, thank you very much for your time, mate. And any further updates, please give us a ring back and let us know. We have been able to make contact with SA Police, and they have advised that the press conference will be held at 5:30 at Marion Shopping Centre, and we will bring you that. They were unable to provide any further details as to what had occurred or what was occurring. From what it seems like, it's still very much an unfolding situation, and as you can imagine, police doing their very best to manage this situation. We're just going to head now to Mitchell Sariowski again. Mitch, thanks for your time again, mate. Can you tell us any more?
Well, right now where I'm standing is near where the New York Bar and Grill is, and it's across from Grill. There are SWAT cars that have, or Star Force cars, I should say, rather, that have swarmed the Marion Shopping Centre. There are people, parents, that are standing outside, waiting to hear from their kids. They're in communication with their kids right now, but they're very worried. These parents are telling me all they could think about was what happened in Bondi a month or so ago. And that is, I think, heightens the scare for any incident that happens like this. What we do know, police are currently in there at the moment. There are a lot of people in lockdown at the moment. That's what we do know.
Do we know roughly how many? Have you heard from SAPOL of how many people are locked down? And is it in the entire area of the shopping centre, or is it just is it level 2? That's what we've received some reports on.
I believe that the bottom level has been cleared out. The top level hasn't. But I have spoken to other people that are saying they're in different parts of the shopping centre. What I can see right now is getting quite intense here. There is someone being wheeled out in an ambulance. As I was saying, this is very much an unfolding situation. The reports were that someone had either a knife or they were armed, but it's still very unclear. We have been sent, and you'll see it on 5 o'clock on 7 News, of people running outside. The moment people ran outside, literally in fear.
Yeah, absolutely, Mitch. And thanks for that, mate. So you're saying people, just the one person coming out in a stretcher at the moment?
Yeah, that's right. A woman. She is currently being ruled out in a stretcher and going into the ambulance. Her injuries are unclear. She is conscious, but this would have been an incredible, scary ordeal for everyone involved. Well, witnesses told me that they were told that there was a fight that broke out in the food court, and then they were told to run. Some people are saying armed with a knife, other people are saying armed with a gun. But obviously it is still unclear. Early suggestions, they do suggest that it was potentially a machete. There was a group, but it's still very unclear at the moment. And I'm sure South Australia Police, when they hold the press conference at 5:30, they'll be able to shed light on what has happened today. Like you were saying, we've had Bondi, and you see other scenes right across the world, and you also see it with social media. It really heightens people's fears. But this wasn't a drill. This was very much a terrifying situation to the people that have evacuated today.
Essentially, I got a message or a phone call from my mum, and she said, we're not quite sure what's going on, but basically I'm in the back of the reject shop and we're sort of being told that there was someone with a weapon. Can you see what you can find out for me? So I sort of rung around, and at first it was just 2 people fighting. It'll be okay, they'll be out soon. But then it sort of escalated. What we're sort of hearing is that there was a fight had broken out between some groups of teenagers, people with possibly bats or knives. Details are really, really scant. As you said, though, that there's going to be a press conference at 5:30, so we'll find out a little bit more. I sort of told her, can you leave, can you get out? But her car's around the other side of the centre. She was saying that there was SWAT teams and stuff all through the car park, so they sort of didn't really feel too comfortable not knowing what was going on, whether there were guns or knives or anything like that, to be able to all walk out and leave. So she is still in there at the moment. But everyone's okay, and they're just sort of waiting for police to come in and tell them that it's okay to get out.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're in the reject shop, so that's just near the Kmart area. From what we understand from Mitchell Sariovsky, that level 1 has been cleared somewhat, so it does sound like that SAPO are clearing as they go, perhaps looking for someone. Again, that's speculation, but we are trying to find out as much as we can from SAPO. Did your friend kind of share what's the feeling? Like locked in the back of the reject shop, I can't imagine. There would be panic. People would be concerned. This is a Bondi incident happening again. Did you shed some light on what people were saying and if they saw any injuries or?
No, they haven't seen any injuries. They're all pretty calm and okay. I think they're just wanting to. It's sort of hard because there's a bit of Chinese whispers happening, so they're not quite sure what's correct and what's not. So probably more a feeling of a little bit of, frustration as well, because they're locked in the back of this room. They're not really quite sure what's going on. I did have another friend who she was in the back of Target, and she'd just been in David Jones about 5 minutes before it all happened. She managed to escape, and she's left her car there because obviously it was absolute bedlam in the car park, and cops had sort of shut everything down around that. So she just said it was pretty scary. Everyone was really concerned, obviously, especially with what happened at Bondi. but that, they're safe and they're okay, and they've, she's left her car and she'll go and get that at a later time. So just sort of thankful, I guess, that, straight away it was put over the loudspeaker. They did say that the message on the loudspeaker was really hard to understand and it did actually sound quite scary. But yeah, they're just thankful that they're okay and that police responded quite quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Abby, thanks very much for your time this
No
afternoon.
worries.
Let's go to the calls. And Anthony, I understand that you know someone who's stuck in there. Is that correct?
That's correct. Both my wife and daughter are stuck on on the ground floor. Sorry. So I know someone earlier mentioned that had been cleared. So there are still people stuck in back of shops, just waiting for clearance to get out.
Yeah. So have they been told anything by SAPOL? Is anyone communicating with them, or they're in the dark at the moment?
No, they're just sitting in the dark. Sort of very anxious. There's quite a number of people in that store. They're down near the Woolworths end, so sort of the opposite end of the shopping centre to where the incident occurred. But yeah, there's been nothing really communicated. Every now and then they have had a few things through the PA system, which is almost inaudible by what they were saying. You can't really hear what is being said over the PA system. I was actually at Marion last week where they had a similar thing in that same section, and you could be standing right under the speaker and you couldn't hear what they were saying through the PA system. There was just people walking around as if nothing was happening, but other than a few security marshals standing there sort of indicating that things were okay.
Yeah, so as your wife, as she did she see anything when it occurred, or they were just told to evacuate and they were off?
Oh, no, they were actually pushed into the back of the store and the shutters were pulled down on them.
Yeah,
okay.
So
they said, look, there's an incident happening. They were standing at the register about to purchase something, and the roller door on the storefront was pulled down. And they said, yeah, we're in lockdown. There's an incident going on. We don't know what. And, so they've been there ever since.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Anthony. I do appreciate the call. If you are out and about and you've seen what's happened, 8223 0000, we will endeavour to provide you the latest. SAPOL holding a press conference at 5:30.
My wife Christine and daughter Lucy, so they were in sports school. I think it was about 5 to 3, and they basically just got locked in the storeroom. So I think it was about 17 of them in there, and they've just in the last 5 minutes have been updated with news that there's 2 individuals still hiding out in the centre somewhere. So they're actually not sure where they are. So I think that's why a lot of the shops in and around where they are just for safety are really just staying where they are. So I think they're in the back of the storeroom. There's about 7 of them there. They're all calm. They're all chatting and getting to know each other really well.
But let's go to someone that's in the shopping centre right now. Cheryl, good afternoon. You're in the Reject shop right now.
Yes, we are. They took us through out to the back, so we're right out the back in their storeroom area.
Talk us through what happened. Where were you and what occurred?
Right. Well, I was actually in the Reject shop and I heard a lady on the loudspeaker but could not understand what she was saying. So I just sort of said to another lady in the shop, can you understand what's going on? And then all of a sudden there was just people out in the mall screaming and running everywhere. So I'm not sure what came over the loudspeaker, but obviously enough to tell people to evacuate, I'm guessing. The staff here at the Reject shop, the 3 young people who have been excellent. He just closed the doors and we were in the shop, and I'm out the back now with, I don't know, probably 25 people, a couple of little tiny babies, a couple of little children. Everybody's very calm at the moment. So, but we're sort of seeing stuff on social media, but, it can be a bit of Chinese whispers, so we're not really sure what's happening.
Yeah, as I can only imagine, it must have been terrifying. Are you aware of any injuries to anyone when you were evacuated, or you were just put into the room?
We were just put into the room, but I have heard since that a lady had been hurt and was taken out on a stretcher. I haven't heard anything else. We heard for a start that it was 2 young kids with poles fighting. Then we heard it was a gang of 30. So we really don't know. Up here we're sort of locked away and don't know anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, it wasn't scary, I guess, for us. So there's a lady here with a tiny little baby. Of course, that was scary for her. But I think because all the shops reacted so quickly and just closed their doors, and I guess that's a bit of training possibly from what happened, in Sydney. So they locked the doors. So we felt quite safe in here right from the word go. I think it was more, if you were out in the mall, there were people running there and didn't know which way to go. But as I said, I was in the reject shop, so we only sort of saw what was happening out in front of us and then closed the doors and came out the back. So they've fed us water and chips and teddies, tiny teddies.
They're looking after you.
Yeah, they're looking after us. But I think everyone's a bit over it now.
Yeah, have the reject staff, have they been communicated by Westfield management at all, or security?
Yes.
They have?
Yes, they have been on the phone constantly. They've had their manager ringing quite a few times, checking on everybody or their. And I think, it was hard trying to get on to security or the police or whoever he got on to. Obviously, they've been flat out, but they have had some updates, and now we have been told just to sit tight until the police come through and let all the shops know that it's fine to leave.
So they've been told that police are working their way through the centre and perhaps clearing it? Is that what you say?
I did hear that, yes. I think I heard that from Abby, my daughter. So we did hear that they're starting to clear level 1, I think. So hopefully but we're right up the end by Kmart. So
okay.
we're just sitting on boxes, hanging around at the moment. So
just looking after each other.
It is scary. For it to be happening in Adelaide, it's not something that we sort of get here, and it is. It's scary. I think just the fact that it's now come to Adelaide, and we always thought we were a safe little town, but here we go.
Calls. Let's go to Justin. Justin, good afternoon, mate. Can you tell us what you saw?
We were in the middle of watching a movie, kids' movie, so we had our 5 and 3-year-old with us. And during the movie, we heard sounded like a recording on someone's phone. It was that dull that it was just it was annoying, people were getting annoyed by the noise because you couldn't hear it. Then on the third one, people were like, "Oh, we got to get up and go." Like they're saying we've got to leave. And where our seats were situated, if we turned around, you could see where the entrance to the cinema was. So everyone started going through there, and I just said to my family, "We'll just sit down, let everyone go, and we'll walk out behind them," sort of thing, because nobody knew that it was like a massive emergency sort of thing. And then all of a sudden, everybody come running back, screaming and carrying it, because they're saying, "Get out of here, get out of here." The lady who was in front of us had left, and then she come running back past. She said, "Get out of here, get your kids out of here." And so everyone was going to one exit on one corner, and there was another exit that no one was going through, and we went through there, and we've ended up on the rooftop of level 2. All while this is happening, the movie still played. There was no disruption to it, no lights come on, no nothing. So we're all people were trying to get out of a cinema in the dark. And then we made our way around. People were freaking out, obviously, and we've come around to where there was a bit of a walk around to where the stairs were to get down, and that's where my wife realised that she left her phone in there. And we're like, "Oh no, what are we going to do?" So we've walked down, and where that comes out at New York Bar and Grill. And so there was people just standing around there, and there was only one female security guard that was standing there, and she was stopping people from going in. So we would have been at least 5 minutes by now, because we stood on the rooftop for a little while wondering what we were going to do. And then police finally rocked up at that entrance and they went in. But from our point of view, we had no idea what was going on. We had no idea why we were evacuated, if it was just a fire alarm or anything.
Yeah.
And then we walked over to the car and we're just like, well, we can't get out of here now because there was this pandemonium, everyone trying to drive out of the car park. So we just sat in the car, had the radio on, but nothing came up about it for a fair while. But it took us a fair while before we could get out of the car park.
Let's head back down to the scene. Beth XL for 9 News. Beth, good afternoon. What do we know anything more?
Oh, good afternoon. We're just standing outside the David Jones store, which is where this incident is said to have started, and we're actually seeing a number of people coming out of the centre now. A lot of people we've spoken to in the car park have been waiting for their loved ones who've been sheltering in the back of storerooms and hunkering down in shops. It looks like they're starting to get the all clear to come out, but there's still very much a heavy police presence here. And we're still waiting on confirmation of exactly what took place here a little earlier on. There's still Staff Force officers, heavily armed Staff Force officers that we have seen only a short time ago, still making their way through the shopping centre and the shops themselves. So looks like things are starting to clear a little bit, but there's still a sense of confusion here, certainly among people waiting to hear from their loved ones.
Yeah, certainly sounds like there's a lot of perhaps misinformation and just not a lot of confirmation of what's actually happening. Have you seen anyone perhaps injured or taken via ambulance? We heard of a lady that was removed from the New York Bar and Grill area and taken via ambulance. Have you seen anyone else taken by ambulance at all?
We've not seen any ambulance or paramedics here where we are. So as I say, we're outside the David Jones area. We understand there were a number of ambulances called. We were of the impression they were here on standby in case. We've not seen any injuries or reports to us of injuries so far. But as you say, a bit of confusion still down here.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of what has caused this, have you been provided any further information from perhaps eyewitnesses of offenders or anything along those lines?
One eyewitness we spoke to only a short time ago says she was of the impression it was a small group of young people. It looked to her not to be a random incident, something a little more targeted potentially. But as I say, we're waiting for confirmation from police any minute now as to exactly what's unfolded here.
Continue with our calls. Let's go to Mark. Mark, good afternoon. Tell us what you know, what you've seen. I understand you've got some staff in lockdown.
Yeah, I manage a store there at Hair House, which is next to Coles.
Yep.
And I've got 3 staff members there that are, quite distressed, just sitting there waiting. Don't really know what to say to them. I've been talking to them, saying, I've rang the police, and they've said they'll come and talk to them, and I've given them the police the phone numbers of someone to ring, but they haven't been rung. Just really want to get them out of there and stop their distress.
Yeah, absolutely. Have they been contacted by security? Do they have an estimated time of when perhaps they might be able to get out of there?
This is the frustration of these 3 good people, and one of them does suffer from high anxiety, which I'm very concerned for her. There's been no contact from police or security from Westfield, and they're just waiting there. They've been in the back room of the staff room. I've suggested that they actually go out into the back of the store and keep an eye out for police so they can catch someone's eye to get them out, but still nothing's happened.
SAPOL releasing an update a short time ago. Police are investigating an incident at the Westfield Marion shopping centre today. Just before 3 p.m. on Sunday the 23rd of June, police received reports of 2 groups of young males fighting in the food court area of the centre. Some people in the group were reported to have weapons. As a result of the incident, centre management activated an audible alert and evacuation alarm, and the centre went into lockdown. Numerous police resources, including the Star Group, officers attended the centre to commence a search for the group involved with the initial disturbance. A thorough search of the centre was conducted, including rooftops. However, the groups involved were not located. Several shoppers who sought refuge in shops were safely escorted from the centre. Police are satisfied that there is no ongoing threat to the community. Further investigations are being carried out to identify the groups involved. So that is the very latest from SAPOL. Police are satisfied that there is no ongoing threat to the community. We heard a short time ago that there is shoppers still stuck in the back of shops, and they are waiting to be released. We will hopefully bring you some more as they are released, but police again are saying that they're satisfied there is no ongoing threat to the community. Let's go to Cheryl. We spoke to her a short time ago. Cheryl, can you provide us a bit of an update of what's happened?
Yeah. Look, I'm out now. I'm just driving home. From my perspective, not long after I spoke to you, probably 5 minutes, they've opened the doors and said, yes, we could leave. So I had to walk right back through the centre to get out to my car at David Jones then. And there were a few police there just sort of checking and watching things, but it was all very quiet and it was all over by the time we got out. But I had just been speaking to my sister Debbie and Kelly, her daughter, was at the picture theatre with her 2 boys and a couple of other friends, and they were about to start to watch a movie.
Of a fight between youth
Cheryl,
and
I'm just going to stop you there. We're just going to head to the press conference now. We now take you to Assistant Commissioner Scott
during
Duval.
the information and the incident that they had and they were dealing with. Police worked very closely with Westfield, and obviously we escalated our response to ensure the safety of all patrons in the centre.
That is the very latest from Assistant Commissioner Scott Duval. Again, reiterating what he's told us as just before 3 p.m. on Sunday today, police received reports of 2 groups of young males fighting in the food court area of the centre. Some people in the group were reported to have weapons. As a result of the incident, centre management activated an audible alert, an evacuation alarm, and the centre went into lockdown. Numerous police resources, including the Star Group officers, attended the centre to commence a search for the group involved in the initial disturbance. A thorough search of the centre was conducted, including rooftops. However, the groups involved were not located. Several shoppers who sought refuge in shops were safely escorted from the centre, and police are satisfied there is no ongoing threat to the community. Further investigations are being carried out to identify the groups involved. We also now received some information from SA Ambulance that a woman in her 30s and a woman in her 70s have been taken to hospital. However, the Assistant Commissioner did clarify that is as a result of the evacuation and not the initial incident. Let's go to Juliet. Juliet, I understand that you were in Marion and you're out now.
Yes, yeah, we got out just after 5 o'clock.
Tell us what you saw. Where were you? Where did you hide? Tell us all.
Sure. We were at the Big W checkouts, actually, and the loudspeaker came on that it was an emergency, so they shut the shutters at Big W and sent us all to the back of the shop. And I had my 3 kids with me, so we ended up in the toy section. So of all the places to be hiding out, it's probably not the worst place. But we really didn't have a lot of information for that, maybe for the whole time, really, and still don't have a lot of information about what happened.
Yeah, so I guess Big W staff, could they tell you what was going on, or they didn't know themselves?
No, they didn't know anything. They just knew what was coming over the loudspeaker of Marion. So no one told them anything. They couldn't tell anything to us, but they did their best, and they were great. They were handing out water by the end of it and making sure everyone was comfortable.
Well, it
brought
sounds
chairs out of the chair section, so can't fault the staff there for sure.
No, it absolutely sounds like all the Westfield staff and retail staff throughout the centre did their very best to accommodate everyone. So absolutely full credit to all of them. Tell us about the kids. How are they? All right? Were they oblivious to anything going on?
I've got a nearly 3-year-old, a 6 and an 8-year-old. So the 8-year-old was fairly aware of what was happening. He was a bit worried. Same with the 6-year-old. 3-year-old was okay because he grabbed a truck out of the toy section, so he was running around with that. But we'll have some chats with them over the next few days and make sure they're okay and not too many nightmares. And I suspect they might have a few, but they're okay. They hung in there.
No, well, that's great to hear, Juliet. Thank you very much for calling in. We do appreciate it. If you are out and about, if you saw what happened, if you are in the vicinity, caught in traffic, if you're inside Marion Shopping Centre, we are taking your calls. This is rolling coverage on 5AA. Let's go to Tony. Tony, you were in the centre. Tell us what you saw, mate.
Yeah, g'day, Sam. Mate, I was actually on the way home. I had got my son at Marion, and my wife rang me hysterical. She was inside the building, and of course, you know, they didn't know all the sort of rumours that there was guns and knives and all sorts. So they were in lockdown. So I spun the car around in Diagonal Road and jumped a couple of lights. And I think that speed camera might be looking for me this week. Shout out to the Marion Council. Maybe drop that one. Got up to the building, and everyone was a bit hysterical. Everyone was running out of the building and running, screaming. Kids were screaming in the car park, which is very, very, you know, understandable.
Yep.
And so I've gone up to the door, and the guy goes, "You can't come in here, mate. You know, there's an issue." And I said, "Listen, my family's in there. You know, I'm going in there." So he just he stepped aside, and I got in there, and then I got in the door. This guy's come out, and he's got two big machetes, and I'm staring at him thinking, "Oh, this is going to be good." So and then he goes, I don't know, he thought it was me, and I thought it was him. And he goes, oh mate, he goes, "I'm just a shopkeeper."
Oh, okay.
I'm there, right, okay, cool. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm unarmed.
Obviously
so
preparing for the worst, perhaps.
Correct. So I grabbed those. I've got to go back and see him. Poor old Damien the fruiter. I pulled out one of his big metal poles out of his fruit stand, and tomatoes are gone everywhere. So I said, "No, I've got my wife's ringing. They're frantic. She's locked in the toilet. My boy's yelling." So we go belting up the middle of the corridors there, and he comes with me. So shout out to Damon the fruiter next to Audi legend. And we run around the corner straight into two cops. So there's the two cops, got no idea what's going on. There's a guy with two machetes, a guy with a pole. So they're like the two young girls. I could just see them wide-eyed. And they're like, "Oh," and I said, "No." I said, "We're right. My family's here. We got your back." And they're like, "Okay, no worries." So I think there was a little bit of relief from them. The two fellas come flying around with arms that said they had their back. And then we pushed on a little bit further. Wife's rang. She's barricaded a whole heap of people in the toilets. They put all the lounges and stuff up against the toilet doors, and she's like locked them all in there because they heard there was a gun in there. So, you know, obviously that just put the bejesus in everyone. And so she's rang and said, "We're going to make a run for it." And I couldn't locate which toilet it was. We're just running up and down the corridor, you know, looking around the corridor for them. And so she's yelling, you know, get out. And all the kids are running with her. And so they got the kids out across the road. So Damon and I then just thought, well, another cop runs in with a weapon. So we're like, okay, well, you know, there's three cops in front of us. So, you know, they'll probably be able to take this situation on hand. So we just sort of cleared the area, made sure everyone was where we were, no one was there, and backtracked to where we were. And, you know, but obviously in most circumstances like that is chaos is because of no one really knows what's happening.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was on any Sunday down at Marion this afternoon next then. So,
it's definitely a confronting situation, mate, and well, I appreciate you calling us in, and I'm glad that everyone's all right and your family's all right, and sounds like you've made a friend in the fruiterer.
Mate, go down and support Don the fruiterer next to Audi there, guys.
He might deserve a couple of beers, hey? Jonathan Edwards taking you through in this rolling coverage. Let's go to another Tony. Tony, you're at Marion and your kids, you were watching a movie with them.
Yeah, we were. It was a pretty frightening ordeal, to be honest. We were in the middle of a kids' movie, and for probably about 10 minutes, we heard a very faint voice on just a random speaker, and we actually thought it was part of the movie, so no one was moving at all. And then, on the PA system, a very frightened sounding girl started screaming, saying, "Everyone needs to evacuate, call AAA when you get out. Someone is at David Jones with a weapon." So we went out to the foyer just outside our theatre, and there was a bit of confusion going on, and then someone screamed, "Run," and it was pandemonium. So I've got a 8-year-old daughter and a 11-year-old son, and my wife was with me, and there were people falling over, shoes flying everywhere, bags just left everywhere, and we were all really panicked running through the bowels of Marion at that time, having Star Force people run past us and everything. We've got quite shaken up kids at the moment, purely because probably there was a fair bit of panic that was eventually done. And the movie kept running throughout the whole experience as well, so we really didn't know what was going on at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And so talk us through, once you were out, was there any information kind of given, or you were just kind of in the dark?
No, we were still in the dark. We were using a lot of social media to
Yep.
try and find out what was going on, and there was gridlock in the car park and everything, and there was obviously reports at the time that it was a gun and everything, and
Yep.
a lot of police cutting off all the alleys of the car park and everything, but a lot of people were just making their way to whatever exit they got
They
out of
possibly
Marion
could.
to wherever their car was, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose in terms of injuries, we've heard from the SA ambulance service and SAPOL that 2 people have been injured. Did you see anyone fall over or was trampled on evacuation?
Yeah, well, there was a particularly where we were, because there were people who evacuated their individual theatre, and then just finding their way to the exit. There were people falling over, having to pick them up. We were gripping our kids for dear life, and people holding doors open to help people through and everything. So there was, I saw some bruised knees out there and everything. My poor wife fell over during it all and had to quickly get up and everything. But yeah, it was quite, and you couldn't help but think Bondi with that when people are saying it, and when you're just in that fight or flight mode.
Absolutely.
You just run, and particularly when you've got kids, you just get into panic mode, and I think that's where people start falling over or running into doors and things like that. Yeah.
Well, it just sounds like there was so much unknown going. Talk to me about the staff. Were cinema staff with you? Westfield staff. We've heard so much that the retail staff that were there were just simply brilliant, doing whatever they could to help people. Did you have any interactions with them?
No, to be honest, we didn't have any staff at all. We probably what added to a bit of the panic was I'm guessing one of the event cinema staff was screaming down the PA to try and get our attention, but we didn't see anyone. Probably the only kick in the guts was we got an email an hour or two later asking us to judge our cinema experience from event cinemas. So that was a bit distasteful, but no, it was everyone was standing for themselves, and that's it's a bit different from what we're hearing from the rest of the centre. So.
Yeah, no, I guess given the situation, people can't be blamed. They obviously thought the worst, as we all were. Thankfully, we've received some confirmation from SAPOL that everything is safe. There's no further threat, but I'm glad you and your family got out all right, mate.
The announcements, we could hear them quite well where we were in Rebel Sport, but the lady doing the announcements obviously sounded really panicked, and they kept updating the announcements and making it sound like the assailants were kind of working their way through the centre. So at first they would say, there are males with weapons in the food court, and then the next update was there are men with weapons at Coffee Club, and then it was the cinemas. So you really didn't know what was going on, and it just made it sound like there were people coming through the centre, with weapons. So it was a really scary time. And then we didn't actually get another update at all, really. So we all had to check social media to see what was going on, to see that the police had even arrived, because we didn't even know that.